Hey guys, welcome to Watchdog Central. I look like a chalky, pasty bastard here. I haven't actually been out and got any sun this summer yet, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my computer here and I'm going to try and see whether this works. I'm going to click on a big yellow picture and see whether I can get an instant suntan without actually going out and getting a suntan, because who the fuck wants to go out and get a suntan nowadays and get cancer and all kinds of shit. So, boom! My face looks a little bit more yellow, as you can see. I don't know if that'll come back on playback, but pale, white, honky, suntan, instant suntan, no reason to go to a tanning salon and get cancer. This is an easier way of doing it. Just set your computer to yellow screen, boom, you have instant fuck off suntan. Okay, enough of my bollocks. Okay, I wanted to stick a DVD review up this week because I've been promising a few people I was going to do one in a while and I haven't done one. And I've been watching shitloads of DVDs over the last 3 months. I still collect DVDs. I've never really been into the whole Blu-ray thing. I've never really bothered buying Blu-ray because I tend to just download MP4s, which practically get some decent Blu-ray quality anyway, and put them on my hard drive. So every now and again I'll still go out and buy DVDs because I like collecting them. They're not as space consuming as VHS or other things that you'd get, so I'll just run through a few that I've actually watched over the last couple of weeks. Okay, so let's start off with some of the box sets I've actually watched over the last few weeks. I've got this one, it's called the Alien Trilogy box set. I was actually given this as a present about 7-8 years ago, and I actually never got around to watching these until now. I have watched them before on video or when they were on television, but not this actual box set. It's actually decent because it's got like 9 DVDs in it. It's got all this special features for Aliens 1 to 3. So it's got like 9 in it. I haven't actually spent time sitting down watching all the bonus features in this because there's supposed to be over 40 hours of... I'll just see if we can get that in. Over 40 hours of bonus footage. I ain't got time to sit down and watch all them. I'll watch them over time, but I did actually watch 1 to 4. I think that out of the 4, I know a lot of people claim that number 2 is their favourite. They're like the second Aliens because it was a fucking awesome movie. But personally, I believe that if I had to pick a favourite, and a lot of people probably won't agree with me on this, I actually think Alien Resurrection, the 4th one, was actually my favourite out of the series. Now, the reason I'm saying this was because I watched all of these back to back last week, and like I stated, I have watched them before, but it's just that I wasn't really into them as much as I watched them last week, and I sat down and watched them properly, and I believe that the first 2, and they were brilliant, but I just found them to be very dreary and slow to watch. I had to go with number 4, saying number 4 is my favourite because overall I liked more of the characters that were in the 4th one, the actors in that actual 4th one. We had Winona Ryder in it, and it had some better characters for me anyway to act. It was easier to relate to and get into, and the action scenes in it were they were more frequent, the action scenes throughout the movie. I think the thing and the reason why I like the 4th one the best also was in Alien Resurrection when they were doing the underground scene with the water, and you actually seen the aliens floating in the water coming after them, and I thought that was probably one of the best scenes in the movie. So that would probably be my favourite one out of the whole season. Okay, so overall, the Aliens box set was a very good box set. The only problem I had with it was, on the first, second and third movie, it was freezing every 10 to 12 minutes. But this was, when I looked into the internet, they claim it was due to the actual discs being dual layer. And because they've got the theatrical version and the director's cut on each disc, there's a lot of space, and it was a format change or something like that. And so it doesn't actually affect the actual box, so they're not 40, it's just different DVD players would play these differently, so it was more down to the DVD than the actual box set itself. So I'm going to keep this anyway because it's a great watch, and plus I want to watch all these bonus features, so that will probably take quite a while actually, but great DVD box set. Okay, and the next box set I watched was called Best of the Best. This is like early 90s classic karate American sort of movies, sort of like if you're into stuff like Bloodsport, Kickboxer, or if you like this early Steven Seagal stuff like Out for Justice, Hard to Kill Nico, then you'll probably fucking love these. Now, this DVD box set was actually my brother's originally, and then he gave it to my dad because he was getting rid of a load of discs. And so I went round about 2-3 months ago and I borrowed them from my dad. But you see, I'm not going to give them back. You see, that's how I roll. Fuck him, they're mine now. I fucking love these, and these have to go into my collection. Number 1 to 4, classic violence, like you know, sort of like the shit you see back in the early 90s where you see some mobsters, sort of like these greasy looking cunts go into like some shop and they just go in and they blow someone's brains out for fun, you know, that kind of shit. And then you get the karate guy coming in, the good guy, and he'll do some chop suey shit on him, and he'll just do a swinging round kick and just break the cunt's jaw. Classic, like I said, best of the best. If you haven't seen these films, I suggest you go and see them. Very, very good movies. Okay, so we all know that Steven Seagal's been making some pretty shite movies over the last 10 years. We know this. What the fuck happened to Steven Seagal? He don't make classics like Exit Wounds anymore, or Nico, or Hard to Kill, or Out for Justice. They're classic Steven Seagal movies, but I always watch these 3 back to back because these 3 are the best. This is one called Exit Wounds, which has got Steven Seagal and DMX in it. I always watch these 3 back to back because they've basically got the same. You know, if you watch a film with one actor, you might end up watching about 3 or 4, you know, with the same actor in it. This is why I watch them. You've got DMX, and then you've got one called Cradle to the Grave. I watched all these last week. Cradle to the Grave. That's also got Jet Li and DMX in it, and they've got most of the same actors in it. I think it's got Tom Arnold and Anthony Anderson in about 3 of them, and then Romeo Must Die, because it's pretty much the same people in the same 3 movies, and it's 3 very good watches. I always watch those ones back to back, classic films. Okay, and the next DVD box set I got was The Chris Rock Show. This is The Chris Rock Show seasons 1 and 2. And it's got like, it has like lots of different casts and interviews which they had in it. People like Conan O'Brien, LL Cool J, Busta Rhymes, Whoopi Goldberg. Lots of different interviews and stuff. It's a very good show. I heard they made a season 3 and season 4 of it, which I haven't actually watched yet, so I'm actually looking forward to that. Okay, and the next box set, which I watched about 3 weeks ago again, I've had this for quite a while now. This is called Boys from the Black Stuff. This is a classic British television show from the early 80s, made by Alan Bleasdale. So classic BBC TV sitcom that defined the depression-scarred 1980s Britain. Very, very good television show. You can actually, these are all actually available on YouTube if you wanted to check them out. I'd highly recommend this because it's a, if you like good classic British television show, or gritty movies like Made in Britain with Tim Roth, sort of like all set around the same time, you'll probably enjoy this one. It's called Boys from the Black Stuff with Yozza Hughes. Gives a job. Okay, the next one I watched was called Penis from Heaven. He's a comedian called Paul Kay, which he's a UK comedian. He's probably one of my favourite comedians ever. He's really underrated as a comedian. It's called Paul Kay. You might know him as one of his... he plays lots of different characters. Obviously Dennis Pennis, but he's also appropriately known as someone called Mike Strutter, who was on an MTV show where he plays like sort of like a Robert De Niro style lawyer, where, you know, sort of like gangster lawyer. It's a very, very funny thing. If you've never seen Mike Strutter, check him out on YouTube. He's fucking hilarious. But this is Dennis Pennis, where he played this character called Dennis Pennis, and he used to go around and basically take the piss out of the celebrities on the red carpet. So if you've never watched Dennis Pennis or Mike Strutter, check him out. His name's Paul Kay. Check him out on YouTube. He's a very, very funny British comedian. He's extremely underrated in my opinion. You know, you get these comedians like Peter Kay, who seems to be like a very mainstream. He seems to get out to a hell of a lot of people. I just don't really find him anywhere near as funny as like someone like Paul Kay is. But Paul Kay is just way too underrated for my liking anyway. But check him out. It's called Penis from Heaven. Dennis Pennis. Okay, so as nothing actually freaks me out film-wise, I don't think there's any film that I've ever watched that has freaked me out or scared me. I'm just from a very young age I used to sit down and watch all kinds of fucked up nasty movies that my dad brought back, and I literally, there is nothing that rattles my brain at all. So what I usually like to watch before I go to bed at night is really violent movies. The more violent the better, because anything that can actually even remotely try and fuck with my head, which is nothing. But I usually watch movies like Saw before I go to sleep, because they tend to get me into a nice drifty sleep. Because I don't have nightmares. I have dreams, but I never have nightmares, son, because I think I'm a bit psychologically fucked in the head, to be honest. But yeah, that's Saw, that's the first one. Fucking awesome movies. Saw 2 and Saw 3. I was given so many box set years ago as presents, but I've never actually watched any of them till now. I have actually watched the films online before, but I just never actually got around to watching them. But I've been watching them this week. So I'm on number 3 at the moment, and I have watched 1 to 3, but I heard they've made 7 of them so far, so I've still got another 4 to watch. So I'm looking forward to watching them. It's the Saw box set. Great for bedtime stories. Okay, so let's just have a quick run of these DVDs that I've actually been watching over the last couple of weeks. These are the ones that I've actually got in slip covers. I stick them in slip covers because boxes take up way too much space. I threw videos out years ago because they took up too much space, and I thought, great, DVDs, they're slimmer. Only problem is you end up getting so many of them and they're just as fucking bad. So I end up sticking them all in these little slip covers because they're easier to keep and you can store shitloads more. So anyway, over the last 4 weeks, these are the ones I've watched. This is The Prestige with Christian Bale. Very, very cool movie. This is one called The Hitcher 2. I know they did remake The Hitcher, but this is the one with Gary Busey's son called Jake Busey, who's a since the crazy motherfucker. And if you haven't seen this one, I'd check it out because Jake Busey plays a fucking great nutcase in this. It's got C. Thomas Howell in it as well, who was in the original. There was actually a second Hitcher movie with Sean Bean in it, which was also good. This is an Australian film called The Hard Word with Guy Pearce. This is where I love Australian films, but this is the one where they went to rob the Melbourne Cup and steal the money from it. It's a good sort of like action gangster sort of like movie. This is one I actually picked up from a local pound shop, which is called Strange Planet. It's an early Naomi Watts movie. It's like an Australian film. It's a very, very old one. It's got Naomi Watts, Alice Garner, Claudia Carvan. It's not a bad film. It was a good watch. Worth £1, I suppose. Now, I decided to go out. I like going out buying all kinds of shit DVDs. So I thought, let's try and get one with Triple H in it, the famous wrestler, as we all know. This is one called Inside Out. I got this because it had an actor in it called Michael Rappaport, who I actually quite like as an actor. It's got Bruce Dern in it as well. I didn't really think too much of the film. I thought it was a bit of a shite movie, to be honest. It didn't have much action in it, and I think the problem that Triple H made with actually going from wrestling to movies was he didn't do what The Rock done. The Rock, you know, he's done some violent movies, The Rock, you know, like The Driver, stuff where he'd go around and blow people's brains out. Triple H, when he went into the movies, he made this one, which I bought from my local pound shop in the UK, along with this one called The Chaperone. He tends to make sort of like family dramas. So, you know, this one, for example, you think it was an all-out action film by the cover, yet you get into it and he doesn't want to hurt anybody. You know, he wants to play the good guy as well as the bad guy in the movie. And it, yeah, I still thought it was an okay movie, but not too much action if that's what you're looking for. This was another one called The Chaperone, and this was just a straight up sort of like teenage movie, and there was no action in this really, not too much anyway, but it was a good watch, and I suppose it was worth £1. This was another one I picked up called The Forger, where he has to go out and try and forge a painting or something. It wasn't too bad. That was an okay movie. Donnie Darko, I have seen it before, but I only watched about 20 minutes of it and I couldn't remember what happened, but that wasn't actually a bad film either. Bookies, where they're in college and they set up a online campus. Bookies. I've had that for years. There's so many films that have just sat in boxes. I've never really actually got around to watching them. The Glass House 2. I think they made the original one called The Glass House. It's very sinister fuckers in this, man. I'm not going to ruin it. I'm not going to spoil the film for you. You can check that one out. Clerks 2. Fucking classic movie. This isn't the original cover. I actually got this cover from, I can't remember where I found this cover from, but it's some film magazine. But that's the sequel to Clerks. I love Clerks. I think the original one was in black and white. It was made around 1994. It's like a cult classic. And this one was a little bit more in your face, but it's still a very good movie. There was a part in it where they were wanking off a donkey or something like that. It was pretty fucked up. Okay, this is another one called Bad Trip. It's about they sort of like go into this little town in Texas or something, and they end up getting done for a joint. He had a joint in his pocket, and they end up throwing him in jail for so many years. It's a bit ridiculous, but okay. And the next one I bought was American Gangster with Denzel Washington and Russell Crowe. This is a class movie, but this is the extended version. It's got like 18 minutes of extra footage you haven't seen, and I have got the original other version, but this has got like nearly 20 minutes of extra, and also it's got alternative endings and shows some different stuff in it. Very, very cool film. Plus it was dirt cheap as well. I mean, some of these films now you can get DVDs in London for £1 each, so why not? This one is called No Way Home. This has got Tim Roth in it. Now, Tim Roth's one of my favourite actors. You know, I've watched like many films with him over the years. One called Made in Britain, and there's lots of films over the years he's made, like obviously when he went to America and made Reservoir Dogs, but this is one he made during the mid-90s where he just gets released from prison. It's a very good film, well worth the watch, called No Way Home, Tim Roth. This was one called Highwaymen. Highwaymen, yeah, Highwaymen. This is a very cool film. It's where he gets trolled around by some guy in a car, and this guy in a car just goes around murdering people. It's fucking, it's pretty crazy, but it's also funny at the same time. Me and my sick sense of humour. Here's another one. Oh, so I haven't put these in cases yet because I've only just bought them. This is, I have seen this loads of times. It's called Outlaw. It's got Sean Bean, Danny Dyer. This is like sort of like your Death Wish vigilante movie where they go around and they take care of the scum on the streets that the police aren't dealing with. They just go around and very good movie. Danny Dyer, Sean Bean. I've had this for ages. I've had this for like 3-4 years, and I bought this years ago. I bought a box set of Saturday Night Live. I don't usually watch Saturday Night Live, but I watched the I had an SNL Eddie Murphy special which I watched. I've still got the Adam Sandler one to watch, but I've seen bits and pieces. But I watched this about 4 weeks ago, and I don't usually watch any of his stand-up show. I've seen him in loads of films, Will Ferrell, but this was fucking hilarious. I've just went on YouTube and I've been watching like this. They've got this channel on YouTube, a Saturday Night Live YouTube channel, where they've got like every single Will Ferrell one, and I think I'm only about 10% into it at the moment. But if you haven't checked out his comedy stuff he's done on Saturday Night Live, I suggest you check it out. Me being from London, I don't watch too much of the American stuff, but I thought that was fucking hilarious. Okay, this is one I've had for a while. This has got 4 different films on it. This has got one called Chopper, the American, well, not American, that's an Australian film. Chopper Read. I've got the book of that as well. Classic Aussie stuff. Eye of the Beholder, Hurly Burly, and a film called Taxi. It's a Luc Besson film, a French film. It's supposed to have lots of good car chases in it. I've seen it, bits and pieces of it before, but I never finished watching it. And then I went out last week and I got the second one, which is called Taxi 2, which I'm looking forward to watching as well. I did actually watch the first Taxi. Yeah, I watched, and because it's French and I didn't want to watch subtitles, when I first rented it out the DVD out of the shop, it had subtitles, and not subtitles. It had the where you can change the audio so you can actually hear them talking in British accents. It was completely dubbed, right? And they sounded like, you know, like John McVicker out of the McVicker movie, like Roger Daltrey, and it just sounded so fucking stupid. I can't. That's why I'd rather watch films with subtitles on them now rather than watching films that are dubbed, because they just sound fucking dumb, the characters in them. This one I haven't actually got a cover for. I made a cover for it. It's called Jennifer's Body. That's yeah, that's very, very, very tasty. Need we say more about Megan Fox, because let's be honest, I'll watch anything with Megan Fox in it just to watch her. Okay, here's a rare one called Jimmy and Judy, where it's got Eddie Furlong, one out of Terminator 2. He just films everything, and he gets his girl, he meets up with this girl, and they go around and they start murdering people. Very good bedtime story, that one. Okay, this one's a bit seedy. This is Lethal Lolita. This is where I think she's 16 and she starts having an affair with a married man, and then she doesn't like the fact that the wife won't leave her for the... So it's a true story. It's basically, I don't think there's really any spoilers in it because it's a true story. It's where she goes out and murders this fucking... She goes out to murder the wife. It's a very good film though. I'll check it out. Lethal Lolita. I only paid £1 for it. And I watched one called The Blind Side with Sandra Bullock, which is also, that's a decent watch. Nothing spectacular, but good watch. Okay, so that's pretty much all the DVDs I've watched over the last 2 months. And today I have been wearing my Al Pacino t-shirt, You're Gonna Fucking Die Big Time, which is also another classic fucking movie. So thanks for watching, guys, and I shall see you in the next YouTube video where I'll probably be ranting on someone and slagging someone off, because that's what I like to do in my spare time for fun, son. Thanks for watching. This is Watchdog Central beaming out.